It's the War Report coming live every Tuesday at 7 with Steve, Cat, Ryan, Amanda, and Eric. In the voice of NEW, Vince Berry. Hitting all the topics like a clothesline flurry. Turn up your speakers and hear them out. You can listen from your car, even on your couch. They too raw, who NXT? Handing out smackdowns, follow on IG. Plus, it's sponsored by TagMeADate. Go to YouTube and sub now for every update. It's all wrestling here. No safe space. Now listen in. Time to hear from some of the greats.
Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the War Report podcast, brought to you by TagMeADate.com. We got to start off in a somber note. We lost another legend. Rest in peace to the Iron Sheik. I figured we'd start off, let everyone say a little something about the Iron Sheik, what he meant to them, and then we'll move on. But we did lose another legend. I believe he was the age of 88, right? Or
81.
81. I knew it was something in the 80s. But yeah, welcome everybody to the War Report. You got Vince, Ryan, Eric, Kat, and Steve. Also, before we came on the air, David Rosca, as usual, just wants to point out that he feels
that's
that
great.
Stratus needs a faction built around her. We all agree, and we'll get to that, but it needs to disclude Zoe Stark. But
it says you could call it a Stratus faction. Get it?
Yeah, I love it.
That's very good. Well, on that note, welcome everybody to another edition. We got a lot to cover. We got to talk a little bit about the Iron Sheik because he was just one of a kind. Everything from in the ring to his appearances on the Howard Stern show. I mean, it's endless. But he was the greatest villain of all time. Back in that day, in that era, nobody was hated more than the Iron Sheik. And it's ultimately what got Hulkamania started. So there's a lot that ties into it. David Rosca says, favorite Iron Sheik moment, 2005 Hall of Fame speech.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good one.
Which is a great one. But real quick, I guess we can go around the room. Anyone got something they want to say about the Sheik? And then we will go into SmackDown.
Just the
His Twitter
funny,
was God.
Sorry, just the funniest thing about him, because I know a lot of you guys have, and I know I have too, how different he is with his in-ring persona and how he is when he's with the fans at autograph signings.
Yes.
He is the sweetest, nicest
Very
guy
humble.
you will ever meet. And he was, whether there was one person at the line or 100 people at the line, he made sure every single person felt like you were being respected, and he appreciated the fans so much. Heel, face, or whatever, he was never a heel to the fans. He was a gracious person, and I always loved that about him whenever I went to any autograph signing that he was at.
I second that. I met him at WrestleCon in 2016 when some of us were in Dallas. Steve, it was Zobes and I. We met. You were running the TagMeADate table at the time, so so we ran around, and he sat down with us, and it was such an honor to meet a legend like that. And I recall he had really some great WrestleMania moments if you think about it. One was the first one where he and Nikolai Volkov won the tag titles, right? With what was the manager of Classy Freddie Blassie?
Classy Freddie Blassie, yeah.
And and then the other one, WrestleMania 17, the Legends Battle Royal.
Yep.
That he ended up winning because he's the only one that couldn't take a bump out of the ring.
Yep.
And then he still put over Sergeant Slaughter after it because,
Right.
man, a character like, especially for us growing up in the 80s, the Iron Sheik, he was the pivotal point, like you said, with the Hulkamania, the starting of Hulkamania, but the end of the Bob Backlund era too. So he was that transitional champion, but he ended one era and brought about a new one within the span of a month. And it was, who else but the Iron Sheik could have done something like that?
Yeah. Even the Colonel Mustafa bit that he did with Sergeant Slaughter later on too was, that was a huge character. And anyone that wasn't old enough or didn't even know really who the Iron Sheik was, they were introduced to Colonel Mustafa and got introduced to this other heel character.
I still always thought that was weird though. Like they didn't even acknowledge that this was the former WWF champion, the Iron Sheik. That they're saying it's like a completely different character. You know what I mean?
You know why? Odd. In my opinion, because they didn't want the heat to be taken away from Sergeant Slaughter.
Absolutely.
Well,
and he wouldn't have been able to be as hated as Iron Sheik was. So if you don't call him Iron Sheik, people that don't know, they don't know. They kept a hat on him.
Exactly.
Right.
They had him.
They didn't want you to know that. They did not want you to know that was Iron Sheik.
Right, but it was. But I'm saying it was but to talk to about the level of what he could do, because that was a completely different character that, like you said, even if you knew who the Iron Sheik was, you didn't really think it was. At first, I'm like, wait, was that the Iron Sheik, or who the hell is Colonel Mustafa? It was a whole new different persona.
Well, but you know what, though? If you really look at it, outside of the hat and not calling him Iron Sheik, it was the same fucking gimmick. Mm-hmm. The only difference was he was a manager.
Changed, really.
I mean, that was it. He was still USA.
Same mustache, same boots.
Yeah.
Right.
But he didn't talk. He didn't run it. But he didn't run his mouth like how the Iron Sheik was. You barely heard him talk.
There's a reason.
Of course.
Because Sergeant Slaughter could talk. That was the difference. Sergeant Slaughter didn't need a mouthpiece. But you put Colonel Mustafa with him, he's even more hated.
What I also loved about that whole thing, that whole triangle of terror, is General Adnan, because he was, it was the old school wrestler, right? But he actually knew Hussein, and he resembled Hussein, and they really made a note of that. I loved that, and man, like we were kids, especially, we were like, oh my god, that looks like Saddam Hussein. Holy shit.
It was brilliant.
I mean, there was a point where they lit the American flag on fire.
Yep.
Well, they were on live television.
They
I mean, imagine them trying to do that now.
They ended up doing the whole Mania shirt instead because, too much controversy. But
especially during that time,
that was thought of, though. Yeah. That was thought of.
Wasn't that during the Persian Gulf War?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, you had to tread on thin ice.
But I think you're right, though. If Sheik had opened his mouth at all during that, it would have taken from Sarge. So that
right. And you know how I said the Iron Sheik was the most hated guy in that era. For a while, Sergeant Slaughter was the next one as the most hated, to the point where he was getting death threats.
Yep.
Here's Mr. G.I. Joe, Mr. America, now holding an Iranian flag. I mean, talk about getting fucking heat.
Yeah. That previously had done several matches, like the boot camp match at Madison Square Garden against the Iron Sheik.
Right. So that's why I really think they had to go with the General Adnan, because Sheik, even with that, would have still been more hated than Sergeant Slaughter.
Yeah, and then you had other moments where she kind of like came back during various moments, like when he was. Him and Backlund were the managers for when Rikishi was the Sultan.
The Sultan, oh my God, yeah.
Against the Rock, or Rocky Maivia at that WrestleMania. And, so Sheik was involved in like things every once in a while. I'm surprised they didn't have him anything with like Tiger Ali Singh or whatever, or guys like that,
Yeah. Well, before we transition, we also have to rest in peace, something else. Young Rock has been canceled after 3 seasons.
I'm
And I think
bummed
of Young
about
Rock
that.
because the guy that played Iron Sheik was so good.
Mhm.
Yeah, he was.
I thought the show was great. I'm shocked that they actually canceled it. I really am. And the Rock's been getting hit left and right.
Shit.
Record losses for the XFL startup, and then Black Adam, and now this. Maybe he will come back to wrestling. So
I was thinking
real,
the same thing.
right? So before we dive in any further, Vince, this is for you from Tara. Before I say anything else, Vince, I just have to say thank you for the support today. Really meant a lot. So that's awesome. Not sure what exactly that's referring to, but that's awesome. And another comment from Tara.
The Sultan.
That was Rikishi. I never
was-
realized. Yeah. Just like Aldo Montoya was just incredible. If you didn't know that one. But yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
You didn't know
Aldo
that?
Montoya
Yeah.
was just incredible.
Where the fuck have I been?
Jockstrap, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You didn't know that, really?
I did. I honestly did not.
Wow. Look at that. You learned something today.
Excellent.
Well, I know I'm in the right place to learn something new. I just don't know if it was good or bad that I didn't know that. That's what I haven't figured out yet.
It's not a matter of good or bad, but I am surprised.
Yeah.
I am too.
Like all the shit that you remember, I'm surprised that ain't.
I know. That's what. Like, I can't believe I didn't know that one.
You do remember that the 1, 2, 3 kid was X-Pac, right?
Yeah, and 6.
Okay,
Right,
just
yeah.
checking. Well done. Okay.
Well, he was the 1, 2, 3 kid. He was the Razor kid. He was 20 about million other.
Cannonball
The
Kid.
Lightning kid. He was a whole bunch of
It
kids.
was all the kids.
Yeah.
And
That's
China.
very
I'm sorry.
true.
Oh, God.
He only spent one
That
night in
was
China.
only,
I know.
excuse me.
Oh,
That was
God.
Ryan just took it right out of my mouth. When you said that was only one night in China.
No, sorry. If you watch The Surreal Life, it was way more than one night. Okay.
Cat, don't feel bad. Tara
Ah.
didn't know either.
Yeah.
So, SmackDown.
Now I got Akon
I mean,
stuck in my head. Thanks.
We had a lot of very interesting things take place on SmackDown this week. And SmackDown, to me, has definitely been the show that I look forward to the most. But we do have quite a few things to talk about. We have the main event for sure. And we do have one other thing. And I know this is going to start something big, but we did have Asuka being presented with the new title, which, by the way, once again, simple. Yes, I love it. I think it looks great.
Same.
I like it a lot better than the previous one. And prior to this segment, we had a segment with Bianca Belair backstage, where Adam Pearce has promised Bianca a rematch for the title. And then during this presentation, we get the return of the Queen, Charlotte Flair. Hold on. All hail the Queen. And she comes down and says, I don't need to wait in line. I am the line. Now, I'm watching this, and I'm very excited to see Charlotte back because I don't care what anyone say. She is still one of the best in-ring performers in the women's division, in any women's division, in any company in the stratosphere. So say what you want. She is the queen for a reason, and you should bow down. And yes, I don't think she needs to wait in line because she's that fucking good. I will tell you this too. I also feel this way because we're not only going to get the heel turn from Bianca through this that we talked about, we're going to get to see Bianca Charlotte Flair, which we have not seen. And that is going to put asses in the seats, and that is going to make for great matches because here's what's going to happen. At Money in the Bank, it's either going to be Charlotte versus Asuka or it's going to be a triple threat. Either way, if it's not a triple threat and it's Bianca and it's Asuka versus Charlotte, Bianca's turning heel at Money in the Bank and costing Charlotte the match, starting their feud. and then SummerSlam is going to be Charlotte versus Bianca.
I can only hope.
I mean, now I want to give the floor to Eric because I know he's been chomping at the bit. I just wanted to put my take out there.
And Steve,
Go
we
ahead,
agree
Eric.
on something.
Look at that. Eric, go for it.
Now, look, all that stuff you just said, I completely agree with, believe it or not. All right? I want to see that. I want to see
I'm shocked, by the way.
the Bianca heel turn. Because you're probably misunderstood the hatred on Charlotte, and I'll get to that. Right?
Did you want me to read your post or your text to the group? I didn't misread it, my friend. You flat out wanted to know if anyone else was going to rant the way you were about this. So the floor is yours.
Right, but I'm saying you might not get what exactly my specific complaint is. It's not just
that's fair.
Because look, like I just said, I agree with all that you said. I want the Bianca heel turn. I want Bianca versus Charlotte. I know how, meaningful Charlotte is as a wrestler and competitor.
Ouch.
Wait, what did that say?
Charlotte Flair is a Nadia Comaneci wannabe.
David.
Ouch.
I love
Raska is hating on the
fire.
queen right now.
I fucking love this guy.
So wait, Charlotte Flair is the Teodora Ungariano?
Whoa! Wow! Just an
My
old
main
ass
thing is
reference.
that I just don't want her to win the title again for no fucking reason but to pad her resume so she gets to the number that her dad did, which I'm sorry, look, I'm all for equal rights and shit, but it's not the same thing. It's not the same world title. It doesn't mean as much. And
Eric?
Yep.
I am biting my tongue right now.
I just want to say this to you, my friend. I need you to get it in your head and understand, regardless of what you want, this is going to happen. What I will say
I know that.
What I will say is, I don't think it's happening anytime soon. Because I think this feud with Bianca Charlotte, the title's not going to be there. Asuka's not losing the title at Money in the Bank. So I think this is a way to have that feud. You don't have to worry about the belts, and it will prolong that win.
A lot of this is not on her as a performer because she's great. It's the booking. But
the booking is, I am the line. I'm the queen. Yeah, I'm the best.
The line. I get it. I get it. And it's
but
like,
that's also Bianca's gimmick and Roman's gimmick and Gunther's gimmick and everybody else. That's like it.
And they all have titles. Everybody you just named has had a title for a long ass time.
In that entire list of people you just mentioned, the only one that is equivalent and should have that gimmick besides Charlotte Flair is Roman Reigns. Everyone else, including Gunther. Gunther's not there yet. He's amazing, but he's not one of the greatest of all time. But he's on his way.
Well, all right. But I'm just saying, honestly,
it's too soon.
I'm with Eric.
The other, real quick, the other thing is that, and this is a hard take, and you may not agree. And again, this is all on booking, not on Charlotte as a person. Although I do think she's very wooden on the mic. I'm sorry, but she is.
She's gotten a lot better, though.
Yeah.
And her woos are awful, and her moonsaults suck. But anyway.
Tell me what you like.
I'll give you the woo, but not the moonsault.
How's your moonsault looking, Eric?
Look at moonsault.
Yeah, let's full size your fucking screen right now. I want to see you moonsault right now.
Please, let's do it. I'm down.
Wait, who the hell said I could do it?
I just said, how's your moonsault look?
That's
you really think Charlotte's moonsault is shit? You really think her moonsault shit?
But here's my look. Look at Io Shirai and look at Charlotte. There's a big difference.
Okay, I'm not saying that her moonsault's better than those two, but it's not shit.
She lands on her.
It's definitely not terrible.
I don't think any of them is as good as Io when it comes to moonsault.
Well, wait. You mean to tell me? Right, but wait. You mean to tell me that Charlotte's moonsault is worse than Brock Lesnar's?
Well, that was progress, but wow.
You can't compare the two. That's like apples and oranges.
Yeah.
There you go.
That was like the only one he did on camera, and he fucked it up. The whatever.
The shooting
Charlotte ain't fucked hers up that bad that she breaks her own nose. An implant, maybe, but not her nose.
Let me tell you something. What's sad about that spot is that he did it a million times in OVW, and the one time he does it at a pay-per-view, he botches and gives himself a concussion.
If he would have hit that,
would have been amazing.
Of
would have
course.
been the most amazing finish in WrestleMania history. So anyway, but back to the point.
Go back to your thing.
My other thing is, and again, it's all about the booking. Charlotte Flair needs. This is why I want the Charlotte versus Bianca feud, and it be not for the title, because time and time again they prove that Charlotte is not relevant unless she's with the title or in the title feud, and that's
fair. That's the problem with this whole chasing her dad's.
Let me give it to Vince now, because I'm done.
But I think, but Eric, you're right. That's the problem of I'm just going to chase my dad's thing. And that's a Cody problem too, but we won't get into that right now because that's just, whatever. It's the men's division. But
at least Cody, it's 1, not 16.
Right, it's 1. He's trying to win 1 title and not 16. Yes, there's a big difference because he's just trying to break a glass ceiling for his family, whereas Charlotte's family broke the glass. She is royal. You know what I mean? She's wrestling royalty, so of course she should win 16 world titles. But it's like, as much as I agree with Steve, it's going to happen. I agree with Eric, whereas but that's not interesting to me. Like the way they presented Charlotte getting there so far has not, because then they took away she got to 14 or 15 world titles and they're like, oh well, the NXT one doesn't count, so then they needed to add this is all just setting up Charlotte to beat Asuka again for that title so that she can have her million title reigns or whatever.
Here's the thing,
I don't think she's going to beat Asuka though.
Not right now.
Well, no,
I'm going to put it this way. Never bet against Charlotte winning the title.
Well, that's
just like never bet against Roman Reigns. Never bet against Charlotte winning the title.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
No,
but
he's not. But I don't think with Bianca losing recently to Asuka, I don't think that they're stripping Asuka anytime soon.
Here's my prediction.
What if Bianca turns heel on Asuka?
Here's my prediction. Here's my prediction. Asuka's getting a run.
Mm-hmm.
She's been screwed. She's going to get her due. She's going to get a run. This isn't going to be a 1 month, 2 month fly-by fucking reign. My theory, Charlotte wins the title at WrestleMania. That's where it's going to happen. And that I'm okay with.
I'm okay
with.
But
But for right now, we're going to get the heel turn with Bianca and we're going to get the feud with Charlotte. And those two, that's going to be Sheamus and Gunther on the women's side. That is going to be hard-hitting, technical, great wrestling match. And the promos are going to be good because even though Charlotte's not great, they're better. And Bianca will carry her through the promos. I look forward to it. I think we're in. So to Eric's point, I don't think you're going to have to worry because I think you're not going to see Charlotte win that title now until Mania. And Mania is really not that far away. So,
but it's far enough away that I'm okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And here's one more thing. And this is going to be a huge compliment to Charlotte. All right. In contrast, and it goes with the title thing. I think that she's become such a huge, important part of WWE and wrestling in general that she's become an attraction in and of herself, where she doesn't even technically need the title anymore beyond getting the 16 whatever. You know what I mean? But again, it goes more for the women's division itself because we need to have other non-title feuds for the women's division. It's just as important as the title itself. So I think that's why this is going to be a good thing for the Charlotte Bianca thing. And we also haven't seen Bianca as a heel on the main roster yet. We've seen her heel in NXT, but not in the main roster. So this is, something to look forward to.
I'm also, I love that I agree with everybody here because I agree with Steve. And then I also agree with Eric where it's as long as this title is not around Charlotte's waist in a month and a half, this will be fun. This is good for the division because Asuka can challenge, or have challengers for her women's title that are not Bianca, which has been done, and not Charlotte, which has kind of been done. So Bianca and Charlotte can go do their thing and it'll be a good program. while then Asuka can establish herself as a champ. I think that's all. And like we've said it a million times, this ends with Charlotte winning that title somehow. But we should just enjoy. I guess we enjoy the ride before the inevitable happens.
Pretty much.
I think we have some time. I don't think I really if they fuck this up with Asuka again, I don't even know what to tell you.
See, that's my last question here now, Steve, is what happens if this coming, whatever SmackDown that this title match is happening? What if Charlotte does win the title? Then how do you feel?
Then we're gonna have the podcast. I'm gonna let you go absolutely ballistic, and I am going to agree with every single word that comes out of your mouth. You and I will be in agreement. You will not hear any argument from me. In fact, I'll join in on the rant with you. So that's my pledge to you.
We haven't had a double rant like ever. So
no, that would be a first. But I was just thinking about it. This is all set up perfectly. Again, right? Bianca turns heel.
Mm-hmm.
Costs Charlotte the match for the title, which now starts the feud. Now what do you do with Asuka? Now you have the Asuka Io feud.
Yes.
Because they already started setting that up, because apparently in translation, when they went at it again, it was not very PG. So
definitely not.
But that'll tie up Asuka for a month or two. And those, I think, are going to be some outstanding matches.
Mm-hmm.
But I do not see Io going over in the end.
Promo battle would be great as well.
Going to be incredible.
Yeah.
Going to be incredible. So I think that's where it's
special
headed.
Referee Bull Nakano.
Oh God.
Oh my God.
That would be interesting.
It would be very interesting.
I do now, Steve. Do we want to transition to the main event, because there was some fucking interesting shit with the Bloodline as usual. So I think we should get to that, unless you have other things.
I mean, outside of the whole Bianca Charlotte thing on SmackDown, the other most interesting part of the show was definitely the main event with the Bloodline.
Paul Heyman specifically.
Like I say, you got to start at the beginning of the show with the whole Paul Heyman, Jey Uso segment, because that was sheer brilliance.
It was well done. I mean, listen, anytime promo work is being done in the ring and Heyman is there, it's going to be a home run. But yeah, it started off with Heyman and Jey and Solo. And basically Heyman poisoning Jey's mind with this idea that Roman is going to take him under his wing and is going to get him ready to be the next tribal chief. And that if he accepts the offer, that he's going to get a main event Jey Uso match for the U.S. title. But Jimmy and the Usos are no longer. And then he puts his hand out. And Jey likes the idea of U.S. champion, but does not agree to realign with the Bloodline or turn his back on his brother, and he leaves. And it keeps everyone kind of hanging, so it was great storytelling. And then you go to the behind in the locker room. Heyman and Jey again. Heyman extends his hand. Jey still's not ready to do that. And tells him, I don't know why you're smiling. If I'm back in the Bloodline, you're not.
I like that. That was
amazing.
That was a great line. And I like that because it's confusing as hell and you don't know where that's really going to go, right? So that's great and compelling TV. And then you get to the match and all hell breaks loose, where ultimately Jimmy prevents Jey from getting the Samoan spike and then gets kicked in the face accidentally. And now the Usos are fighting. Jey walks out, not aligning with anybody. Jimmy is all upset because he thinks his brother hates him now. And Heyman and Solo don't know what Jay's going to do. So it just keeps you guessing, keeps you going. It was such a great segment. Go ahead, guys. What's your take on the whole deal?
Don't all talk at once.
Well, we're all waiting to make sure we don't talk over everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's interesting to me whenever they do these someone accidentally hits their friend or partner things, and then the friend or listen, I know if somebody hit me accidentally, I'd still be mad about it. But like, does any wrestler watch the replay of the show? Like, go back and like watch their DVR,
right?
Like, oh, this was a mistake. Like,
I always used to say that. Like, why didn't you just watch it back and see that it was an accident?
Or like,
and then they still talk about it the following week. You kicked me in the face. How many times?
And then they show a replay on the Titantron.
Yeah, exactly. There's replays about 10 million times before we get to the segment.
And it wasn't even one of those ambiguous ones where it could have been, intentional or not. It was.
It was definitely intentional.
You think it was intentional?
You think it was intentional?
You think he's hitting his? You think he's going to turn on his brother? Oh, okay.
Unintentional.
Okay.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay,
we all heard intentional for a second. We all just like, wait, what did you just say?
Like, this is an interesting one.
Like, Solo intentionally spiked him the week before. Jimmy to Jay was complete accident.
But see, you know what? Like, what I really like is that SmackDown ended, and I was more confused than ever.
Mm-hmm.
And you just don't know where this is going to go now.
Leave them wanting more.
Yep.
But it's not predictable either.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The story writing has just been superb throughout this entire thing.
Like I said, it's the Bloodline storyline is like Piper. Just when you think we know the answers, they change the questions.
Now
I love Heyman at the
story the same.
Speaking of Piper, really quick, if you guys did not get a chance to watch the Treasure Show on A&E this past Sunday's episode was all Roddy Piper. They got the bagpipes. They got the Hollywood backdrop leather jacket from the Goldust match. They got some really, really good stuff on display. It was probably one of the better episodes with the stuff they got with Roddy Piper. It was amazing.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, you know what's a fact that I think not many people understand. Now, you know how the jacket that Ronda Rousey has, right? That was given to her by the Piper family, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Piper had it. That was given to Piper by Adrian Adonis. That was Adrian's jacket.
Oh, wow.
Before he became adorable and fluffy and all that.
I didn't know that.
But they got that jacket, and then they had what is it? But they had the bagpipes from Wembley Stadium, which was really cool. And what was it? So they had two leather jackets. They also had the one from his daughter gave the one from WCW when he returned and had that feud with Hollywood Hulk Hogan.
Ooh, the one where they had that cage match with the gigantic cage. Oh my god!
So like the jackets, the stuff that they were able to get was just like really cool. And then like, sorry to go totally off track, but then like the week before, they actually found Brett's jacket from the Montreal Screwjob.
Oh wow!
Natalia actually didn't even realize that she had it when she was going through her dad's stuff. Wow. Natalia had it.
What?
Brett's like, how the hell did you get it? She goes, I have no idea.
Seriously? Oh my god. That's
one of the brothers grabbed it and it just probably got shoved somewhere.
Tyson Kidd did it. Who the hell knows? But yeah, she going through Jim the Anvil Neidhart stuff found the Screwjob jacket. She had no clue she had it. So it was like 2 weeks of really good episodes. So if you wanted to do nostalgic, they were good.
That's great. Is what's his name on? Is Top Dollar still on there?
No, this season is actually Mick, Lita, and Booker T. So they're actually going to the houses and everything. So when they're going to some collector's house or whatever, like all of a sudden, like, oh yeah, hey Mick, how's it going? And then you'll see Booker T.
So great.
You'll see Booker T and Lita come out from somewhere, like, and Natalia was in the Brett one,
right?
And everything, but it's just like, wait a minute. So now we have like three.
You had Mick Foley and Bret Hart in the car, in the same car, talking and stuff. I love it.
But that's also like, I bet you, I hate to be cynical, but that's a way to make sure that the fan who you contacted is like giving you this item. They're like, I want to send Mick Foley. He's going to sign a couple things.
Like, you ever see the one where Mark Henry tries on Andre's jacket?
Yep.
and he gets all emotional and oh man.
But here was really cool with one of the Brett stuff or whatever. The guy did not want to give up with it or whatever, and like he was like, "Man, I really don't want to do this." Mick, as a barter to borrow it, convinced Bret Hart to make, how like he does the cartoon drawings and everything. Yeah. So Bret made a cartoon of this fan that had one of his items.
Now that's a one of one. That's a unique.
Yeah.
So like you have a Bret Hart signed cartoon of you. I'll give you whatever the fuck I have in my collection to get my hands on one of that.
I mean, shit, that's bigger than Bret as a Simpsons character.
Yeah, exactly. Like, can you imagine getting to get your hands on something like that?
It's very.
I'm sorry, Steve. I went completely off topic.
It's all good.
I'm going to get fired.
It was a good topic.
I'm going to get fired. It's all good.
Yeah.
No, it's all right. Wrestling. I just don't have to watch it now.
It's not fired. It's featured endeavored. Get it right.
Featured endeavored.
I'll give you a topic. Rhode Island, neither a road nor an island.
Without a paycheck, I'm getting featured endeavored. Score.
Tara tried also, but A&E's coming in fuzzy on her TV.
You live on Long Island, so we got Cablevision or DirecTV. Yeah, I get it.
They all suck no matter where you are.
Yeah, they call them Cablevision. You can't watch shit on it.
That's why people stream nowadays.
Yeah, well, that's what it's called. Optimum Online or whatever is like Cablevision. It sucks.
Yeah, it's horrible. So that was SmackDown. So SmackDown was a home run. It was a great show. Anything else on SmackDown anyone wants to add, or should we jump into Raw?
I don't remember anything else happening.
I don't either.
Well, wait.
Actually, listen to most.
The women's Money in the Banks was Michin or something with Mia Yim or whatever. Wasn't that on SmackDown?
Oh.
Yeah, there were some qualifiers for Money in the Bank, right?
Aren't they combining the women's tag titles?
Yes, because the whole thing with Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler. I knew it was something with women. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, they're going to do that. So it's going to be Ronda Rousey and Shayna versus that new NXT team.
Who are we projecting as the women's Money in the Bank winner?
I think it's going to be Becky Lynch.
Oh, wow.
I think Becky Lynch is winning the women's, and I think the men's is going to be LA Knight. Yeah,
I'm totally with LA Knight.
That's my two predictions.
Isn't it in California this year too, or whatever? The Money in the Bank, or am I wrong?
No, isn't it Detroit?
Detroit. I'm sorry.
Oh, then LA Knight's back in my pick.
I'll look it up.
Wait, so what's in? Isn't something in England or something?
Money in the Bank is.
It's in England.
Right.
How did we get
Money in the
Detroit?
Bank is in England.
Okay, I said California. You said Detroit. Shit.
Detroit is SummerSlam.
SummerSlam.
Yep.
So Raw. What's everyone's thoughts on the Seth Rollins Finn Balor segment? Because I can tell you Seth Rollins is getting a lot of heat from a lot of legends and outside WWE people that he handled that crowd all wrong. And that he should have brought them down to let Finn Balor get his point across and this and that he let it go way too long. I mean, it did go a long time.
But see, I don't think that's the wrestler's responsibility to control a crowd like that when you're the face.
It shows you how fucking over it is.
But if it's the Miz, when my hand goes up, your mouth goes shut. They keep going. When Dominic talks, no one cares when it's the heel and Dominic's getting booed into a 5-minute segment. I mean, one of the classic, most best audience segments ever is the time that Vicky Guerrero couldn't even say "excuse me" because John Cena and everybody were cracking. That makes the show.
Yeah, I was thinking.
I gotta tell you though, I was sitting here watching Raw and I'm watching this segment and I'm like, holy shit! Like the crowd has completely taken over this segment, and that's not a bad thing. You're getting a genuine reaction. It's what you want.
Yeah.
So I don't really.
I thought the backlash was stupid.
To get a reaction in general,
Yeah, I mean, it's like now you already expect that the minute Dominic takes the mic and puts it up to his mouth before he even says anything, the boos are going to be deafening.
Right.
Yep.
So I thought that was interesting.
It's not the same crowd as just like the Hulk Hogan when they just sit there and chant Hogan, Hogan anymore. So
I got to tell you, another segment that was the shits. Becky Lynch's segment.
Yeah.
You know why? Because Zoe fucking Stark came out. That's why. And she cut a horrible promo. Horrible promo. Becky Lynch did the best she could, but the crowd did not care. The crowd was dead quiet during that entire segment. And that the loudest part of that entire segment was Becky's entrance. And I think it's because Zoe came out and sucked the life out of everybody.
She didn't help.
Is it just me? I'm trying to figure out what the big deal about having her even called up was. She doesn't do anything for me. Am I wrong?
How is she in the Money in the Bank?
I don't understand. I thought the part of them pairing her up with Trish was brilliant because of the fact that she's not good on the mic and she's kind of So they were trying to beef her up. But like you said, putting her in the Money in the Bank, this makes no sense to me.
Unless she's just there to eliminate Becky.
And continue that story.
And I like what Steve had said. I don't know if it was last week or the week before, or one of the weeks where maybe Trish should have another title run.
No, we've been talking about that. Yeah. I don't disagree. Go for it. I don't know who you take the title off though. That's the problem right now. You got two champions that both deserve it. So, go ahead.
Maybe a women's tag team title run with Zoe or somebody else in the faction.
No.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I wouldn't even want to take that off.
Zoe shouldn't have it. Zoe right now.
I said, or put someone else in the faction and give her a tag team title run.
At this very moment,
No, I'm talking the tag team title.
At this very
I wouldn't want to take off.
Zoe Stark is in the same fucking category as Dana Brooke and Eva fucking Murray.
Wow.
Well, that's a real middle name, by the way.
Well, good news is Dana Brooke is on NXT tonight, so we're not going to see her on Raw or SmackDown, hopefully.
There is nothing good about seeing Dana Brooke on any WWE television, even if it is NXT.
Well, you barely watch NXT, so I was sparing you.
Okay, that's fair.
I can really, besides an NXT pay-per-view, you don't really watch NXT.
Well, Steve, I'll tell you what, the funniest thing and the biggest diss that anyone could give to Dana Brooke, even more than the shit we say, is that when she went to high five that fan and that fan
that was one of the greatest moments I've had watching in a long time. This kid just looked at her and was like, I'm good. And she felt like, you could tell, she felt like such a dope. It was great. It was
I thought you were Liv Morgan. Nope.
Oh my God. Unbelievable. She sucks.
But can I tell you this thing about Zoe Stark? It's so interesting to me to see that, we're talking about the kind of whys and hows behind it, that they actually called her up. I don't know why. I know they do these things with some rookies. They're like, I'll bring them up and let's see what happens. But I don't know if I would have picked, if you told me a couple months ago, hey, during this Becky Trish feud, Trish needs to have a tag team partner or start a faction or whatever, who would you pick? Do you go right to Zoe Stark? Do you not go to one of the blonde,
anyone,
Liv Morgan, Dana Brooke, Tiffany Stratton? Do you see a theme here? You know what I'm saying? Even Charlotte Flair,
hell, use fucking Nikki Cross. Hello.
Oh, Nikki Cross. Yeah, but I was thinking with Trish, somebody that no, I think what?
No, because you can't say the look thing for Zoe Stark because she don't have it either.
That's true, but. No. I kind of like what you're saying about Nikki, because then she's being not similar looking to Trish.
Right.
You will not give that. You won't go, oh, well, they're just getting another blonde girl because Trish is blonde. If it's Nikki Cross, she's a completely different thing.
And the perfect person to be the muscle, so to speak, for Trish, because she doesn't care about who was in the ring. She's going to go with full on attack mode.
Do you know there's
as long as it's not Nikki ASH?
That's what a lot of people liked about those factions, like the one, like the Riot Squad and Absolution, is that you had three different types of personalities and people in those groups.
Now, what if Trish had Nia Jax as a partner?
Oh God!
I was going to say that.
I like how we both thought the same shit.
Have you seen
I was thinking muscle. I'm like,
Let me
what?
tell you
Yeah,
something.
as cats
Which hole?
Let me give
Okay.
you something.
All the holes.
I would
Which
get
fucking
behind
hole?
that. I would get behind that. I would get behind that.
It's
And
better
let me
than
tell
Zoe
you,
Stark.
it's anything's better
Her
than
hole?
Zoe Stark. And let me tell you this: Nia Jax has been having a major body transformation.
Have you seen her?
Yes,
lately?
she looks
Crazy.
fantastic.
Yeah, she looks
Oh, good for her,
fantastic.
man.
I mean, she's putting in the work, dude. I think she could really come back and have a strong run. I mean, as long as she, keeps people safe. But that's another
Yeah,
story.
but again, like,
Can you imagine the holy shit chant if that happened?
But
Yeah.
again,
Right?
like, the main
Listen, she got a
problem-
great reaction at the Rumble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, like, and we've said this a million times, the main problem wasn't necessarily her weight, because she still looked fine, but they didn't give her outfits that flattered her at all.
Super Shredder.
No. Yeah,
Yeah.
seriously.
Yeah, her ring gear was terrible.
Well,
Give her,
yes.
but
give
it
her
wasn't
better gear.
But it was a combination of the gear and the fact that she wasn't a safe worker.
Yes. Oh yeah, that's a
Like,
very big part of it.
At the
Right.
same, yes.
Well, that
did it
was the
change
problem
things?
with her
Yeah.
performance, but her look, like I said, because there were times even that you could see her on the
That's
red
more
carpet
important.
and she looked gorgeous and did not look anything. You see her backstage and stuff, and
Right.
she looked great. Then they put her out like, like she's, like I said, like she looks like fucking
but
Super Shredder with extra muffins.
Most importantly than anything is the in-ring and
Absolutely.
being able to keep people safe. You know what I mean? Like that was the ultimate major issue. Yes, did it change Becky Lynch's career? Absolutely.
Mhm.
But it shouldn't have happened that way.
Absolutely. Not going to
And
deny
that's
that.
just one example of many. I mean, listen, it's the wrestling business. Accidents happen, things happen. But things seem to be more often with Nia. And I like
Look what
Nia.
happened to
I
Kairi
do.
Sane like twice.
To me, part of her size is her attraction.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the fact
Absolutely.
that she is technically bloodline. I mean, listen, you ever bring Nia Jax back, you put her in the bloodline.
Absolutely.
That's how you make her really interesting.
Yeah.
We keep talking about this female bloodline member. I feel like it's never happening.
Well,
I feel like
never
it's
say
gotta
never. The
happen.
Rock's
That's why
daughter's in
that's
NXT.
That's why it's almost a shame that Trinity ended up going to Impact. But
Yeah.
But don't forget, The Rock is, what's her name? The Rock's daughter is still in NXT.
Have you watched her in NXT
That's
at
true.
Unfortunately, I didn't say she was good.
all? Okay.
I just said
As
she
long-
was there.
She's not coming up from NXT any fucking time
her
soon.
We could have said the same thing about Zoe Stark a month ago.
her in ring
Yeah.
is yet to be, yet to be proven, because she's still got a long way to go.
For sure.
My issue is her teeth, her mouth doesn't match her talking. It's
I know
fucking
what
weird.
you're talking about.
It's like a South Park.
It looks like
character.
she's always smiling. So, like when she's not supposed to be smiling, it looks like she's smiling.
She has her grandmother's cheekbones and her father's face. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
Yeah, she got a big old Easter Island head.
Okay, I was trying to be a little bit more anatomically correct about it, but
Well, if we're gonna go there, she has a Samoan bottom also.
well, yeah, but that's
She's
to be
wide on
that's
the
built
bottom.
into the
I mean,
software. Yeah.
Right.
I feel as the girl, I should be defending the girl power here, but yeah, not happening.
Look, we're not saying she's bad. Going to always be
You
bad.
are too, but that's okay.
But look, this
She's
is
very
also why
green.
she's on NXT.
Absolutely.
Very
But yeah.
green.
But how about this cat? The newest member of the bloodline, Danny Garcia.
Oh God.
For anybody that doesn't know, that's The Rock's ex-wife.
Hey, listen, business deals. Sign her up. She could be.
He did it for The Rock.
She could be Terry Runnels in the York Foundation. That might work.
But look, just be grateful that they didn't put Tamina in there. All right.
Oh God,
It
does she
could've been
still work there?
Listen, you know
She
what
does.
though? Tamina's not bad.
She's
Tamina just
she's
never
not
got
as bad as
pushed.
people make her out.
If she was gonna be the female solo, she could pull that off. Just
Yes,
mean
because
mug
she
and
wouldn't
just
have
do
to talk.
super kicks. Right. As long as she doesn't talk and she's just like the solo female version,
Or married to
she
Akira
could be
Tozawa.
gold in the bloodline.
That
my
whole nobody's meaner than Tamina thing, where she like finally seemed like she snapped, and there was like her promos had like sunshine and rain clouds and little cartoons and stuff, like she was going crazy. I was like, that's the most interesting Tamina's been in a while.
Yeah.
See, but
they
even
didn't
the whole
capitalize.
one when they let Tamina and Natalia be tag team champions, That was that was good.
I like Tamina with Nia.
The biggest
that
problem,
makes sense, yeah.
The biggest problem with Tamina is injury prone.
Yeah.
Every time they started to give her a push, she got injured. That's part of the problem. So that didn't help because they did try and do shit with her, and every time it started to take off, she'd get injured, and then
she also got in like late in her career, like you know, like
did she though? Because I feel like she's been around forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she was past the prime of what most of the people in her.
How old was she when she first hit the scene in WWE?
Mid-20s, almost late 20s. She was older than most of these girls.
Yeah.
She's all right. She's like pushing almost in her 40s.
Remember,
she's 45.
Yeah, she's older.
45 now?
Yeah.
Tamina's 45, and she debuted in WWE in 2010.
Ooh.
Right,
so
yeah, so she's been pushed. So like I said, she was in her late 20s.
She was in that weird
yeah. She was in her 30s, dude.
Connection with Santino for a little bit back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, because let's see, in 2010,
I liked her with the Usos at the beginning of that.
Yes, when she debuted.
So she almost got started, like she hit it almost like the same way DDP did.
Yeah.
He was in his 30s before he really got into it.
Batista too.
Right, but a lot of people consider the women's window for athletic, which again, it's just a traditional thing because a lot of times women will retire not just because maybe their body can't take it, but because they have other outside interests like starting a family, having a baby.
But she was a mom before she got in the ring.
Right.
Her kids are,
she did all that stuff. But then starting at 32, yes, I can see the perception of like Tiffany Stratton in NXT is probably 22. And you're like, well, do we want to push 22-year-old or do we want to push 32-year-old?
Yeah, it's a way different window. But even now, again, like I said, aside from like DDP or maybe Batista, you don't see guys in their late 30s starting up or getting anymore.
See, that's why it's prime time to get LA Knight on the ball right now.
I was thinking that too because he's another guy who's either pushing 40 or is
39 or whatever. So,
wow.
Yeah,
it's time.
They don't all get the luck of like the R-Truth thing that they could be going this late and still, well, not now because he's injured, but R-Truth
like the same age as he was 25 years ago.
Right, but what I'm saying is that's his conditioning and that's him or whatever. That's the rarity.
Yeah.
For that to be or whatever. I mean, like, who else really is there a wrestler present day? I mean, aside from the torn ACL, that's up there in that age that can still actually hack it in the ring for a good 5-10 minute spot.
We'll know soon, but possibly Sir Randall K. Orton.
Oh, yeah, if he can come back.
If he can come back up until this injury, I will agree with you 100%.
But everything I'm hearing now is that they're getting ready for his return. So
I
really?
That's what I'm hearing.
Miss that man so much.
Yeah.
But I'd give it to Orton and I would give it to Edge now that he's back.
Cena,
but
when he's back,
Cena,
can do it.
The last couple of matches of Cena.
Yeah, it wasn't necessarily his.
I didn't say it was his. I'm just saying, but even still, well, the last two matches he had, yeah, but he did put a good 15-20 minutes in. Okay, so I'll give you that.
What are your thoughts on?
I don't like complimenting Cena at all.
This whole Cody Dominic thing.
If this brings back, the rumor is that this is going to bring Brandy in with the whole Rhea thing too. So I'm interested to see where this one's going to go.
Brandy's got to get killed then, because
didn't she always?
Yeah.
Well, no. Brandy started like putting in the work in AEW, and they were trying to build her more as like she can kick some ass.
I mean, she beat Maria in like Impact or whatever, but
I'm not saying that she hasn't gotten better, that she couldn't fight. I mean, but I'm just saying,
you know what?
Statistically,
not a lot of people say this. I actually liked her as a ring announcer back in the day.
No, when she was Eden, yeah, I did too.
Yeah, and she was fine. Like, it's just so funny because people who watch AEW are just like, you WWE fans are cheering for Cody now. Just you fucking wait. He's going to get his wife and his goddamn dogs and everybody out there. You're just going to be so sick of it by the end. Like, it's all starting out the same way. When Cody comes in as the new guy, you love him for like a year or two, and then he's super over, and then something happens, and it might be Brandy Rhodes. I don't know what it is.
But am I
Brandy Rhodes might be the thing.
That Brock is going to cost him the match to Dominic because there's no way other
Well, yeah, that's the
help
thing. If
from
this
Judgment
Money in
Day
the
that
Bank
Dominic's
match, yeah.
going to win, and this could be big for Dominic to get a win, but then it also somewhat protects Cody, so it's still hard times and all that shit. So
right, which is a possibility.
Good point.
Guys, also Ryan sent a message through. I know you can't see it on my camera, but just announced for next week's NXT Gold Rush, Seth Franklin Rollins will be defending his World Heavyweight Championship against Braun Breaker.
Yes.
So that's
yeah.
fun.
Braun put up the challenge on NXT.
That happened. Yeah, that happened literally just before we came on the air.
Yeah. But I guess now it's confirmed. There's actually a graphic, which is cool. David, Steve, I'll let you read this one, David. Yeah.
In my mind, Randy Orton sucks in No Mercy 2007.
That's
don't
such
even
a specific
that
poll.
game that
I've got to
much,
see
so
what
I
match
can't-
that is. Yeah, what
Mick
is that?
Foley.
Is that the Falls Count Anywhere hardcore match thing?
Yeah, that's the match with the thumbtacks and everything.
Were they all? Was that at the Civic? Was that at the Harvard Civic Center? They almost lit the place on fire.
that
They couldn't do
Backlash
fire.
match for the IC title.
I'm looking it up.
Oh man,
I swear that's the New Mercy is the Mick Foley match.
I think, but the
It was in the Allstate Arena in
funniest
Illinois.
thing in the
Okay.
video games sometimes is when, like, at the very beginning of Miz's career, and Miz's points were so low.
Dude.
No, it was we were way off. It was the last man standing match versus Triple H.
Oh, that was the one where Triple H won the WWE title in like the first match of the night and then lost it back.
Second match of the night.
With the Umaga one, and then
Yeah, okay.
was that
Dude,
during?
Yeah, he
the whole
defeated
Hulk Hogan
Umaga.
shit?
That little era from like 2006 through like 2009 was just, it was very weird because it was
A
like
blur.
it was a blur because a guy would hold a title. You'd have one title where like Cena or Batista would hold a title forever, but then the other brand would be the other guy, whether it's Cena or Batista, and then they'd like tear a tricep and be out for 6 months, and then Triple H had to have the title for 2 weeks, and then Randy Orton would have the title for 2 weeks, and then somebody tear a quad, and then somebody else had the title. It was just like, it was a crazy time for the World Heavyweight Championship. I think.
Like Paul Heyman said, the only reason JBL was champion for a year is because Triple H didn't want to work on Tuesday.
Didn't want to work Tuesdays. Yeah, I love that fucking promo, man.
Man, that place was off the hook that night.
Oh yeah, I wish I know some.
The only thing I would change in that moment is JBL's reaction, because like he kind of mocked it, and
Elizabeth,
I'm
coming.
I
Oh,
feel
Red
like
Fox,
as a heel, he should have been more like a little more like taken aback.
Well, he should have. That was the whole point. But he's JBL. Like that's why he fucking got in a fight with Blue Meanie, legit in the middle of the ring, and that's why Stevie cracked him with a chair on SmackDown.
But this is what you guys didn't see because you weren't there. So you know how there was the rafters above them of fans?
Yeah.
How about they started tipping their beer on top of all of them?
Oh, fantastic.
They just like when he was doing that, they're like that. So like when Edge was going like, that was 3 words with the whole Matt Hardy thing, they're literally pouring their beers all over. That's why when all the WWE superstars went to the ring, their shirts were all soaking wet.
Oh my God.
They got a bloodbath of freaking beer from that crowd.
Oh man.
Fucking awesome.
A non-stone cold beer bath.
Oh, so this is one for our friend David, since we read one of his comments. He mentions the gymnasts a lot, and he mentions that wrestling, some wrestlers that could be gymnasts, some gymnasts that could be wrestlers. I found out when I was watching, was it a Taya Valkyrie match maybe a couple weeks ago? She was wrestling Lady Frost, and they mentioned that Lady Frost was a professional gymnast before becoming a wrestler. And sure as shit, she comes out there and she's incorporating, which I was talking about maybe a month ago when David first started commenting on our stuff. I was like, wouldn't it be cool if there was a wrestler who incorporated more of the gymnastics floor routine stuff? And Lady Frost actually does include her gymnastics routine, flips and cartwheels, like all of the stuff you would expect to see in a floor routine. She incorporates it into her wrestling moves. So I thought that was pretty cool.
That is cool.
Maybe Dave has a new favorite wrestler now.
Well, as long as he keeps saying Nadia Comaneci and like not Kerry Strug, we're good.
I want to ask David his thoughts about other gymnasts, like, because I love, even though she didn't end up going to the Olympics, but I liked what the hell was her name?
You like her so much you don't know her name.
Shit. Not Simone Biles, because she went to the Olympics.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Gabby
I put myself
Douglas
on the spot and I can't think of shit.
Thinking of Gabby Douglas?
No, not Gabby Douglas. Although she's really good.
Is she white?
I was thinking that. I don't think knowing Eric, no. What? No, I'm just saying Eric has a specific type of girl that he likes, and we all know what it is.
He knows what he likes.
It's Miss Jacqueline.
No, like she's
covered in Hershey's.
She's not black. I think she's like kind of Asian-ish. Half Asian, half white.
That's the other type.
That's the other
All right,
one.
and on this note, we're on the top.
Well, that's Justin's type.
That's true.
Oh man, my goodness.
How the fuck did he get stuck with a Puerto Rican then?
Trying to think. I'm waiting until David gets a DVD of the '96 Olympics.
Said it a million times.
It's not a surprise. I don't think I've outed Eric as liking women of color. I think that's just a thing that we've known over the last decade.
Oh, I've known it way longer than that. I've known Eric since 8th grade.
Look, that's a thing, but I also like women in general. So.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's a plus.
I'm just picturing. I'm picturing young Eric as the main character in A Bronx Tale.
Yes.
Louis Beans.
He did have hair back
Except
then.
the Jewish version.
Yeah.
He did have hair.
Wow. No beard though.
No beard.
Any final thoughts on the night?
Yeah.
Any final thoughts? Yeah. Take care of yourself and each other. How about that?
I was Cologino back then.
Right. Yeah. Actually, you know what? I think before we end the show, I guess we probably should just positive thoughts out to our friend, our podcast compatriot who hasn't been here in a while, but we're thinking of her tonight, Amanda. We're thinking of Frankie.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Frankie is a very good boy. We love Frankie.
We're all here for you and
the best boy.
Yeah. Frankie
really is.
He's our mascot.
The most human dog I've ever seen.
Absolutely.
Get it out.
Yep.
Yeah, man. And so, it was just Frankie. He was like another member of the show. We'd see him wearing his little Roman Reigns t-shirt or different shirts or different things that Amanda would have him dressed up.
I'm gonna cry.
Yeah, no, it's tough. And
I hate this.
It's always tough to lose a pet. And so definitely, Amanda, we're thinking of you, and I hope you're listening. If not, you just know when we hit in the group chat there, we're all here for you, and we're thinking of Frankie tonight, guys. So pouring out for Frankie if you're drinking tonight. And other than that, just thank you guys for tuning in. It's kind of been a weird couple weeks. We're going in at 9 p.m. instead of our usual 6 p.m. We're thinking about maybe doing something late at night as opposed to in the afternoon. We'll kind of see how that works out.
No kid interruptions when we do it at this hour.
I know, right? They're either all in bed or all pretending to be asleep.
NyQuil. No.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, NyQuil and Benadryl.
Don't put that on the air.
But,
I was going to put this joke. Get some sleepy time formula.
Oh my God! You ever that commercials like these? Yeah, we got the best sleeping meds. That's a.
I love it. This is chloroform.
A bottle of chloroform.
There's Giant Gonzalez when you need him.
It's called the Baron Corbin match.
Oh boy.
Oh my God. Yeah, guys, we'll pack up. I'll let you guys, for those who haven't been following my Facebook, I'm actually training during a couple days over the next couple weeks to learn the equipment to start broadcasting at a radio station. As Tara, thank you guys. So as Tara asked, and I figured, maybe some people may or may not be wondering, it's not going to affect my time on the show. I'm going to stay here on the War Report. Of course, my shift on the radio is going to be weekends, so it's not going to interfere with our Tuesday night stream. And even if it were, the thing I would ask for if I were to have more time if they were to offer me more time in the air was just to be able to have my Tuesday nights free for the War Report. So regardless of what happens with the radio gig, I'm definitely sticking around here on the War Report, but you can also catch me spinning some of your favorite rock music here in Southern Connecticut, or if you go to the website, you can stream it online, but I'll keep it up on social media the next time, the first time I go on the air officially, and then my schedule when I'm broadcasting. But it's
and
really
good Breakfast Club quizzes. Right.
Yes, of course. And it really, I went to school for this stuff. Thank you, Tara. Congrats on the job. I went to school for this stuff, but it wasn't until I started doing this podcast that I really got serious about learning about the equipment and learning about how to run a show like this and format it and all that stuff. So, I wouldn't be doing those.
Buddy.
Exactly. And I couldn't do it. I couldn't do that radio. I wouldn't have gotten that job if not for the stuff that we did here. So thank you guys for being, we figured it out when I said 6 or 7 years last week. Hector went and corrected us. It's closing in on 9 years. So
yeah, I was gonna say I've been here for 7.
Yeah, that's wild. So 9 years, and I mean, here's the 9 more.
They don't call you the voice of NEW for nothing.
Thanks, man. And yeah, it's we're just spreading the virus, so to speak. Last couple comments here from David before we close out. David Ross, Dana Brooke was a gymnast, and Mandy Rose was a former gymnast. So look at this. So Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose. That's good to know.
Dana Brooke should have stayed a gymnast.
I mean, she does that one-handed, the no-handed flip that she does. I
get so scared every time she does that when she walks out, man.
It's great though. I mean, she hits it. I'm glad she, the alternative.
Glad she hits that, then hits her face. Yeah.
I'm waiting for when she doesn't hit it.
Thank you.
Oh, it's gonna be the Titus O'Neil moment. She's gonna do it like the Royal Rumble and fall right on her face.
Or like when Milena missed a split on the apron.
Ooh, talk about my hole.
But you know what? She went up and did it again. So
yeah, you know what? You got to go back and hit the spot again. Wow, we
can always say that girls have no idea how much it hurts. Like, we get hit in the balls or something like that. You have no idea how much that hurts. Just saying.
It has to hurt. It's it's a delicate area. Wow, we had up to 6 viewers. We had a bit, now obviously people are starting to go to bed because it's 10 o'clock. All right. I do, you know what? I kind of like this. We'll talk about it later. The late shows aren't terrible. I can take a nap in between work and doing this. But no, this was a lot of fun, guys. If you want to continue the fun, we have a Facebook group, The War Report. We've got social media at TagMeADate. Come find us. We're on Instagram. We're on TikTok. We're on Twitter. We're on, just about everything. So look for at TagMeADate on those. If you're looking for our YouTube, it's also TagMeADate up in the search bar of YouTube. Type in TagMeADate, all one word, TagMeADate, no spaces, and you'll get to our channel where you can subscribe and hit the bell to be notified when we go live or when we upload a new video. If you prefer Twitch instead of YouTube, we're twitch.tv/War Report, and that's also one word, no spaces, twitch.tv/WARREPORT. And we broadcast live on Twitter, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and on Twitch. Tuesday evenings, usually at 6 p.m. These last couple weeks, we've had to go up at 9 p.m. because of real life, non-podcast related stuff. But we will, if you stay tuned to our social media, our Facebook pages, our Facebook group. So there's a Facebook page that you can like, but there's also a Facebook, like one of those group things that you can join and kind of, share wrestling news and headlines and stuff and then get notified when we go live. So just look for that. We post the updates on the times. If we change times, we try and usually at least give you a couple days notice when I don't forget to make the graphic. And we'll just keep you posted. So I'm not sure if we're back at 6 or if we're back at 9 next week, but just keep it. Maybe Steve knows. Steve, are we back at 6 next week?
We'll let everyone know.
All right, cool. So we will. Evolution is a mystery. We'll keep it with that. We'll be back next week on Tuesday, whether it's 6 p.m. or 9 p.m. You'll just have to stay tuned to our social medias. But I really do want to thank you guys for following along. Go to our, I forgot the podcast. Go to the podcast apps if you prefer the audio version instead of the video version. Go to your podcast app like Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play Podcasts. Type in The War Report or Tag Me a Date. You should see it. When you type in The War Report, you'll probably find 2 podcasts that are related to pro wrestling. Just look at the graphic and the description. It's going to say Tag Me a Date on there. It'll say Steve or Eric or Vince or Kat or somebody's name in the description. You'll know it's us. When you hit subscribe, the audio version gets popped over into your podcast queue. Within the hour of the show going off the air. Eric,
please, everyone thank Ryan for that.
Yeah, Ryan grabs the audio. He does a great job of grabbing that and uploading it so it can go right to your phone or your tablet, and then you can take it with you in the car or at the gym or doing laundry, whatever it is that you do throughout your day. And just spread the word, man. We've got a lot of great people coming in. We got people coming in on the live stream. We have people coming in the comments to keep the conversation going. Our buddy David, our good friend Tara. We really do enjoy having the comments come in because it helps us understand where the listeners are with a lot of storylines and how they feel about them. And it just, if they have questions, if you have questions or comments, or, sometimes you guys come up with great stuff that we don't even think of, or little facts that we don't think of. So it's always great to have people in the comments. And if you know people that love pro wrestling and want a new podcast to listen to, recommend us. Let your friends know that you found a group of wrestling fans that just hang out and talk wrestling for an hour or so each week, and we love doing it, and we'd love to do it for more people. So if you have your friends that are wrestling fans, pass our link along. We'd really much appreciate it. But with all that said, I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll be back next week for another edition of the War Report, brought to you by Tag Me a Date. I was going to say 6 p.m. on a Tuesday night, but we don't know yet. We'll be back next Tuesday. Stay tuned to the Facebook page. We'll tell you what time we're going to be on the air. Have a nice week, everybody. Thanks for watching.